Nikola Tesla. I mean, the name alone just conjures up images of lightning, right? Wireless energy, all the tech that basically powers our world today. But what if his most incredible, most revolutionary ideas were the ones that never saw the light of day? Today, we're digging into the hidden blueprints of a future he dreamed up more than 100 years ago. All right, let's just get right to it. The big question, the one that kicks this whole thing off. Is it possible that Nikola Tesla, this absolute genius, the guy who literally electrified our planet, secretly designed flying machines, aircraft that could change everything we think we know about flight?
Okay, before we go completely off the deep end here, let's just take a second to remember who we're talking about. I mean, this is the guy who gave us the alternating current system, the thing that powers your house right now. He was a pioneer in wireless communication, radio waves. He even built one of the first ever remote controls. So yeah, this is not some random guy with a crazy idea. We're talking about one of the most brilliant minds ever.
Okay, so now that we've established his genius, this is where our story takes a really strange turn. It all starts the moment he died, and with what happened to all his work.
So, the second Tesla passes away in his hotel room in New York, government agents swoop in. And get this, they're from something called the Office of Alien Property. They seize everything. We're talking trunks packed with notebooks, diagrams, his entire life's research. And here's the kicker. Tesla was a U.S. citizen, so why is the Alien Property Office grabbing his stuff? It just makes you wonder, what were they so desperate to get their hands on?
So what was actually in all those boxes? Well, sprinkled among his research were these incredible concepts. Ideas that sound like they're straight out of a sci-fi movie. He was writing about things like electro-dynamic propulsion and something he called a space drive. He was describing flying machines that had no wings, no propellers, no fuel, just held in the air by force fields. I mean, this wasn't about making a better airplane. This was a complete top-to-bottom reimagining of how we get around.
And see, that's the key right there. While everyone else was busy trying to build a better wing or a stronger propeller, Tesla, well, he was playing a completely different game. He was looking at flight from a whole other universe of physics.
And listen to this quote from him back in 1915. It says it all. "My flying machine will have neither wings nor propellers. You will get into it and you will simply rise in the air." Just rise. How incredible is that? It's so simple, but the idea behind it is just mind-bending. See, he wasn't trying to brute force his way through the sky. He was trying to work with the invisible forces of the universe.
For Tesla, the universe was basically this giant, untapped sea of energy. He truly believed that things like electric fields, magnetism, even the particles in the air all around us, could be used to push things. So instead of burning fuel, creating a bunch of tiny explosions to move, he wanted to tap into that silent, invisible power that's, well, everywhere.
Okay, so the big question is, how? How would this actually work? Let's get into the science of it, because what's really fascinating is that these ideas, they're not just theories anymore.
Well, the core idea is something we now call ion propulsion. And really all it is a super clever way to create thrust. You take the molecules in the air, you give them an electric charge, and then you use an electric field to shoot them out the back. That's it. No moving parts, no explosions, just pure physics.
All right, so here's the play-by-play. Step 1, you pump a ton of high-voltage electricity into a surface on your flying machine. Step 2, that intense charge literally rips electrons off the air molecules right next to it. That's what ionizing is. Step 3, another electric field grabs those newly charged ions and blasts them downwards. And step 4, well, that's just old-school Newton's third law. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. You push ions down, the craft gets pushed up. You get silent invisible lift. It's brilliant.
And here's the crazy part. This isn't just on paper anymore. NASA uses ion thrusters right now for deep space missions. MIT, they've actually flown a silent drone that uses this exact technology. We see it in plasma propulsion research, in these cool lab demos of ionic wind. It's like 100 years later, our best and brightest are finally starting to catch up to where Tesla's head was at.
But of course, there was a catch, a big one. To power a machine like this, you need an insane amount of electricity, and Tesla's solution wasn't some giant extension cord or a huge battery. Now, his idea was way more ambitious. It was the Wardenclyffe Tower. His grand vision was to beam limitless power wirelessly, right through the planet itself. You could power these new aircraft right from the ground, no fuel needed ever.
Okay, and this is where the story takes a turn into the truly strange, the really fascinating part. Because right after the government got its hands on all of Tesla's research, something weird started happening in our skies.
Just look at the timing here. 1943, Tesla dies, and the government seizes all his work. Then just a few short years later, the late 40s roll in, and suddenly, the first huge wave of UFO sightings starts happening all over the world. By the 1950s, reports of these silent disc-shaped craft are everywhere. I mean, call it a coincidence, but it's a pretty big one, right?
And when you start comparing the details, it gets even crazier. Let's break it down. Tesla's designs, they often describe a circular, disc shape. Common UFO reports, same thing. No visible propulsion in Tesla's plans, no visible propulsion on the UFOs. Silent operation for both. The ability to make instant right-angle turns? Check and check. But here's the real clincher. A craft powered by ionized air, like Tesla's, would give off a blue glow, a corona discharge. And what's one of the most common details in UFO sightings? A strange, otherworldly blue light.
So, all of this brings up a pretty obvious question, right? If Tesla was dreaming this up a century ago, and the tech is plausible, why aren't we flying to work in these things? Where are our silent, electric flying saucers?
Well, the truth is, it was kind of a perfect storm of problems. First, his main source of money, J.P. Morgan, backed out. Then you had 2 world wars, and everyone was focused on old-school combustion engines, planes, tanks, you name it. And maybe the biggest hurdle of all, the actual technology and materials he needed, they just hadn't been invented yet. He needed super lightweight materials, incredibly powerful and compact energy sources, stuff that just wasn't available.
You can really boil it down to this. Tesla was designing 21st century tech, but he was stuck with 20th century tools. He was, in the most literal sense, a man ahead of his time. His ideas were just waiting for the rest of the world to invent the parts he needed. But here's where it goes to a whole other level. It wasn't just about ion propulsion for him. In his notes, he talked about manipulating the ether, this invisible medium he believed filled all of space, to actually reduce a craft's mass and inertia. So think about that. He wasn't just trying to lift something against gravity, he was trying to control gravity itself. Today, scientists call this electrogravitics, and it is still the absolute holy grail of flight.
So, the big question remains. Were those secret documents seized by the government actually the blueprints for this incredible, almost alien-like technology? We might never know for sure. But here's what we do know. Nikola Tesla imagined a future of flight that was clean, silent, and powered by the universe itself. And that future, the one he saw so clearly, it's still out there, waiting for us. Maybe all we need is a little bit of that same wild courage and imagination that he had to go out and finally build it.